I knew that I had to rebuild. I wasn't going to let this be the end of my legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
That's giving not only him too much power, but the whole shebang too much power.
Yeah.
And so I had to reclaim my power. And it took a while, but that now I can sit here today saying that it's possible,
Mm-hmm.
and that the person that I never loved so much was myself. And I was so fine with putting everything before that. And falling in love with myself has been the most beautiful love I've ever experienced.
Hey everybody, it's Kenya, and this is the Thank You for Saying No podcast, where we find meaning in life's unexpected turns, where we talk about how rejection can actually be a blessing, and where we learn to be grateful for life's no moments. Before we start, can I ask for a favor? If you like the show, the best way you can support Thank You for Saying No is to subscribe or follow wherever you are currently listening to the podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. Hit that subscribe button or hit that follow button. This is a free way you can support the podcast. And my commitment to you is that we'll find guests that you want, I'll listen to your feedback, and I will make sure the podcast gets better and better. And with that, let's get started. Janelle Ginestra, welcome to the Thank You for Saying No podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. This is really meant to be, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. But first, I'd like to introduce you for the listeners. So for those who don't know Janelle Ginestra, she is an entrepreneur and a renowned dancer, choreographer, and creative director. As an entrepreneur, Janelle is passionate about fitness and wellness. That love inspired her to combine fitness and dance, creating both Naughty Girl Fitness and Let's Cheer Up. And Janelle has toured the world dancing for musicians like Pink and Jennifer Lopez. She has also choreographed some of your favorite viral moments with choreography credits for music videos by J Balvin, Pitbull, Bad Bunny, J-Lo, SZA, JoJo, Halsey, and a personal favorite of mine, Iyla.
Yeah. Oh, good. That makes me happy.
Yeah, so you're seriously just incredible. And for the listeners who've been around since the very beginning, this is kind of like a full circle moment for me because Iyla was my first podcast guest.
No way.
Ever. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you didn't know this.
Whoa, that is so cool.
I know. And so for you, because I actually knew of you through Iyla because I know you choreograph some of her music videos.
Yeah.
So then when we got connected, I was like, duh, I want Janelle on the podcast. This would be incredible.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And that was a nice intro. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it made me feel like, woo!
You deserve all the flowers.
No, I appreciate that.
Okay, so Janelle, today I want to talk about your no's in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
As well as your divorce and how the no's in your professional and personal life led you to some really incredible thank you for saying no moments.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with dance. Can you tell us how you got into that?
Yes. So I was 1.5. I think a cousin or relative of mine was performing at a recital.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom took me to watch them. Can't remember. And I guess when we left, I did not stop bothering my mom for 6 months straight at the age 1.5 saying, I want to do that. I want to do that. And she was like, fine. So by the time I was 2, she finally took me to a dance studio. And I had so much fucking energy that she was basically begging the dance teacher, please take my daughter. But they were like, we only take 5-year-olds. And then she was like, she looked at me, she said, do your cartwheel. And so I did my cartwheel and I was bouncing off the walls. And so they're like, oh, okay, we'll take her. Yeah. So I started dancing at the age of 2 and I've never stopped because it feels like my religion. It feels like my identity, my church, my release, my way to connect spiritually and to connect with myself. So yeah, I just have never thought about not doing it. And I love it so much.
Wow. So from 2, you knew this was for me.
I did.
And then how did your journey go from there? Did you start dancing professionally from a young age?
So from 2 to 7, I danced at like the local dance studio, right? I was doing like shuffle ball changes and like pivots and picking wedgies. And then when I was 7, I told my mom, of course, I was like, I want to be a child actress. So my mom I come from a very, very supportive family. So they've always believed in my dreams, never looked at me like I was a child that did not know what I was talking about. I was very serious. So she moved me to LA from the age 7 to 12, and I did acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helped me feel more vulnerable in my dance with emoting and putting story to it, if you will. And then from the times 12 to 18, I lived in a little town called Modesto. It's not so little, but not many people know about it. And I did competitive cheerleading. So I kind of took a break from dance. I would dance in my garage with friends, but I was a competitive cheerleader. And then I looked at my mom and I'm like, girl, I'm not going to college. I am moving to LA right when I turn 18 so I can pursue my professional dance career.
Wow.
And so I've been here ever since. And I've kind of made the shift from being a professional dancer to a choreographer 10 years ago.
Okay.
Because I found just a lot of new passion and purpose in that.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about that too.
Okay.
But not yet.
Okay.
First, I want to talk about, so in your dancing, so you really kind of entered the entertainment industry at a young age.
Yes.
And so were there no's early on that sort of shaped?
Oh, there were so many no's. Yeah. As a child actress, and especially during that time, there was many no's, and especially from my agent, like, no, you can't have brown hair. She needs to be a blonde. So I'd have to dye my hair. No, your daughter can't gain any more weight because I've always been muscular and thick. So it's like, does she want to be the skinny girl or the fat girl? Those are the terms that they used back in the day. Like, you would read a script and it'd be fat girl. It would say that. Times have changed and evolved, but they were not as sensitive, right? So you had to be a certain way and fit a certain type. And so there would be so many no's until I was the perfect person, or, reading a script, perfect reader for some certain role. But even at that age, it didn't deter me for what I knew I wanted to do. It hurt my feelings, but it never made me give up.
How do you think you had such perseverance at such a young age? Like, what made you just keep going and not be like, oh, I don't fit the role?
I watched my mom hustle her ass off. Like, my mom would do anything for me and my brother. And I think watching her grit and watching her fight, just being around that woman power, I just knew I could accomplish anything. And when my mom and my parents and my surroundings, my tribe would look at me, I felt their intensity of like, you can do this. So my support system was always like here.
Yeah.
So I felt extremely supported, but I also had so much belief in myself. Yeah. I felt like I was a leader. So I was like, I'm gonna lead this shit.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
That's really beautiful. And today, knowing what you've accomplished with that mindset, even through your low moments, which I'm foreshadowing a little bit here, but like, I want you to know, like, I think you are incredible.
Thank you.
Like, truly. I'm
Thank you.
I'm going to cry in this episode. I can already feel it.
I love crying.
Okay, good.
I'm so down. Like, please, I need a daily cry it's like, yeah, I need a daily cry.
Hey, everybody, real quick, we have some awesome merch, and you are going to want to check it out. I've linked it in the show notes. And listen, I pretty much exclusively wear Thank You for Saying No merch because it's literally that fashionable and that comfortable. We have t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, canvas bags. The t-shirts say Thank You for Saying No across the chest. The hoodies say Rejection is Redirection, like this hoodie right here. And there's more to come, so it's very cute. Okay, go check it out. So did some of the no's early on in your career lead you to any business ventures?
Early in my career, like as an adult?
Probably as an adult, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean...
Start at the most chronologically in the past.
Okay. I would say I'm going to start in my professional dancing career.
Okay.
I moved to LA at 18, and all you want to do really bad is you want to book a tour. That's what makes you feel like you did it. You claimed it. You are a professional dancer, right? Okay. And it took me 5 years to get that opportunity. And I would make it to the end. I would be like the last 5 girls, and they had to pick 3, and I would be like always the one that fell off. And so that led me in a place where I'm like, I'm going to make myself undeniable. I started personal training. I got like my aesthetic fully together for their appetite, I will say, because times were different. And so it made me get to a place where I was like, I have to be undeniable. So if I get cut, I'm like, I did everything I possibly could. And so that's that. And then I would say that led me, when I was professional dancing, I was treated amazingly on a lot of jobs, but on some, it was not how I would like to be treated as a human being, how I wanted to be seen for my talent. I don't feel like I should feel replaceable. So during that, I felt like I needed to maybe take on a responsibility and a role of becoming a choreographer so I could cultivate and build my own environments. That was really important to me. I want to make people feel validated. I want to make people feel seen, loved, and irreplaceable. So once I started feeling that as a professional dancer, I was like, maybe I need to take this turn and become a choreographer. Then I'm a choreographer. I meet my ex-husband. We build a company. I'm a mentor. I'm a leader. I'm loving life, blah, blah, blah.
Is that I'm a Beast?
Yes.
Dance company? Okay.
Yeah, we built I'm a Beast, and I loved it. Genuinely. I loved the role that it gave me, that identity that it gave me. I took it very seriously. And I also loved just supporting. That was my ex-husband's dream. And I didn't mind supporting that dream and being the like right-hand woman of that. And then when that all crumbled and fell apart, that led me to then using, I referenced personal training back in the day when I was a professional dancer. That led me to infuse fitness and dance together and build something of my own for the first time, my own business. And that was the most empowering and organic thing I've ever done.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you talked about building this company with your ex-husband, but then how did you get out of that? I don't know the exact terms, like if it ended or if you just left, or how did that kind of unfold?
I had no choice. If you will, the term the rug was pulled from my feet, I would say it happened pretty much like that. It became a tainted situation that we couldn't come back from, and I wouldn't want to come back from. It was the end of a time. And that's hard, especially when you give so much time, love, effort into something. And in the moment, I was like, holy shit, it's over for me. But I did not know that it would be the birth of a brand new me, and a me that I never even knew or could see or knew that I could develop. Yeah.
Can we unpack that moment for you a little bit? Because I always like to paint the picture for the listeners of how hard the no moments can get, but then segue out to how amazing they can become after. Like we can create whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So when you were going through your divorce and you were ending that company, like where did that leave you feeling emotionally and mentally? Like where were you at?
I felt, I mean, this might sound a bit morbid, but I felt a bit dead. I lost everything that I knew. All at once, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like when I go back to the day, it's kind of like I blacked it out a bit, but it's a tornado of emotion. And then I went to a very numb place. And you kind of feel like after all of this effort, all of this time, all of this money, all of this love, what the fuck am I going to do? And I didn't even think about career. I just felt like as a human, who am I? Who am I without that? Who am I without him? Who am I without this identity that I've built the past 10 years? So that was the hardest pill to swallow. But then gradually with time, and with a lot of talking, with a lot of support, with therapy, with reading, with meditation, working out, yoga, with a lot of positive things. And it didn't always start that way. Like I would drink and binge eat and fuck my life up too, right? But then I knew that I had to rebuild. I wasn't going to let this be the end of my legacy. Yeah, like fuck that. That's giving not only him too much power, but the whole the whole shebang too much power.
Yeah.
And so I had to reclaim my power. And it took a while, but that now I can sit here today saying that it's possible, and that the person that I never loved so much was myself. And I was so fine with putting everything before that. And falling in love with myself has been the most beautiful love I've ever experienced, besides my cat.
Okay, here we go. Here are the waterworks. Okay, that laid the foundation for you. Why are we really going to do this? Are we both just going to cry right now?
No, we can cry.
That whole thing laid the foundation for you to create Naughty Girl Fitness, right? And so how to take us the jump from this moment to finding yourself and loving yourself to Naughty Girl?
Totally. I might cry doing this.
I love it.
I think anybody that's been through a divorce or just a horrible breakup, like, you feel so insecure, like, tremendously. I don't care the reasonings for why, what, but it leaves you, like, in this really, like, place. And the things that don't make me feel gross and disgusting are dance and fitness. And so, mind you, I went through a divorce during COVID.
Ooh.
It was the most isolating, real, dark, like, lonely place I've ever been. And so I had to look for positive outlets. And so I was like, let me go into my garage and force myself to do something and force myself to laugh and put a smile on my own face. And so I would work out, but I was choreographing my workouts. So I would, like, do a certain amount. How do I explain it in the best way? I would do 8 counts with burpees and mountain climbers and then add these dance moves in between. So I was creating this fitness performance, I was calling it. And I would be like, whoa, 30 minutes would go by and I would have so much fun. And I had no idea that that much time had gone by. And I'm like, this is a concept. This is something.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I was just dancing. I was doing fucking hard fitness. And so I was like, I have nothing to lose. Literally nothing to lose. So I called my friend, Brazil, who started from the jump with me with this. And I said, I think I have an idea to do something. And I think it could make people feel really good. Let's just film it, shoot the shit, and see what happens. And we filmed a few episodes, posted them. And I never had utilized my TikTok. I posted a clip on TikTok because who I work with, Megan, who you've been communicating to, she said, utilize that TikTok, post a clip of Naughty Girl. And I posted a clip and I woke up the next day and I had 800,000 views. And I was like, holy shit. Okay, this is something.
Yeah.
This is something people will like. And kind of like you said before this talk, when you receive messages validating your movement, even if it's 1 or 2 people, you know that you're doing your service here through God. And so by the messages and the validation I was receiving, not only from my own psyche, but from the outward, I was like, this is going to be something incredible. And I did not know it would turn into what it turned into, but I knew I could help change lives through it.
Yeah. And so for the listeners, can you explain what it's become now? Yes.
So Naughty Girl Fitness is an online fitness platform. It's kind of like Netflix. You can go on, you're a subscriber. You can go on, you have unlimited access to all of my dance fitness workouts. I have multiple instructors on the platform. It's only $11.11 a month. I always say it's cheaper than 2 lattes. And it has multiple moods. It has happy and joyous, sexy and spicy, lit and crunk, spiritual and deep, because I feel like we're all feeling like a different person every day. So I wanted to make something that was custom to the emotion that you're feeling. And they're just workouts that make you feel free and fun. And we've grown a lot on social media and it resonates with a lot of people. And some people think it's fucking crazy. But I don't mind that because I'm authentically me and that feels good.
And that means you're doing something right.
Yes.
If someone doesn't think you're crazy, keep going.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think the fact that you have different workout dances for different people's moods really showcases how dance is such a big part of your life. And what you said at the beginning of this recording, where dance is like, it's your church, it's how you feel, it's how you figure out how you're feeling, it's all those things for you. And to be able to give that to other people, to learn how to figure out how they're feeling or express themselves in a different way, that's therapy in itself too.
It really is. And what I love about Naughty Girl is our mission statement. Through Naughty Girl, like I told you, I felt extremely insecure before I built it. And I love my body in a whole different way. And I fluctuate a lot. But Naughty Girl is not about the weight you lose, but almost the emotional weight that you're ready to get off. It is a deeper, more meaningful experience than just moving your body. Like, you know, I don't know if you like dance, but when you dance, after you're done doing a routine, you feel something. And so it's not like, oh, check, I got a fitness workout done. It's like, oh, check, I got my mental stimulation done. I got my physical done. And I feel like a new bitch.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so I don't dance like that, but I would like to check out Naughty Girl actually, because I could use that in my life. But as a watcher of people dancing, as like an audience member, or if like from Iyla's music video that you did, FOH.
Yeah.
That music video makes me cry every time I watch it, because you can feel the emotion in her dancing.
Yes.
Did you choreograph?
Yes, I did. That was an incredible experience. She was so present in her body that day. And something about Iyla, like on the shoot day, she goes for it. Like she's like, I'm ready to unlock and unload.
Yeah.
She is an artist.
Yeah. It's insane how emotion can be felt through that. And if you're really like using it to express yourself, it will be felt on the other side. And you can make an impact from that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So you also have the cheerleading workout one. What is that one called?
So that's called Let's Cheer Up.
Okay. Tell us about that.
As you know, I was a competitive cheerleader in high school, and cheerleading was the first time I know dance can be a collective sport, but cheerleading is really dependent on one another. And there was this beautiful kind of way that I had to let go of my leadership and look at me kind of energy and be like, I'm doing this for my fucking team. And that helped me a lot through high school, just become a better person, become a better teammate. And it stuck with me. And I feel like I wanted to create that because I want to create homage and love to the things that have shaped me as a human. And so I met my friend Nina, who I created it with, and she is an ex-49er cheerleader. And I was like, I have this idea. I think we should do kind of the online subscription and make up cheer routines that people can learn in the comfort of their own homes. Or I even was thinking deeper in the sense of like, not every school can afford to bring in choreographers or afford cheer coaches. So this would give them a cheaper way to afford routines that are hip, cool, fun, and have their teams feel like they have that opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
I love how technology can actually help.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people get scared of technology, but I think technology can really bring us closer together and expand the reach of opportunities that wouldn't otherwise.
I know.
I love that you did that.
Thank you. No, it's important. And we have to think of that kind of stuff, right? Like if we have the platform, we have to think of how we can make this more usable and feasible for everybody.
So we have a lot of listeners who are entrepreneurs.
Cool.
And you're hitting on a lot of things today about just reaching an audience and having an idea and creating it. And this is just amazing. This couldn't have worked out better.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you're happy.
I'm so happy with this.
Okay.
So I want to talk about your purpose with being an entrepreneur and how that's guided you through all of the things that you've done. Because as a listener to your story right now, it seems like there's a common thread through all of it, but I want to hear it from you.
The common thread is movement, right? I have found that through movement and using my able body, it allows me to maximize my experience here on earth. And see, even that makes me emotional. I'm so emotional. But it's beautiful.
It is.
Because that is my purpose. My purpose is to serve, to get other people moving their bodies, to understand what a gift that is and how powerful that can help, how powerful it is and how it can help your life. It can help you feel strong. It helps your mental game. It helps you feel confident. It's so many things. It helps you release emotions stuffed in baggage and anxiety and depression. Like, it really can cure so much within you. I'm a whole different person if I work out in the morning than if I don't. Like, I just know the impact it has. I know the impact and that dance has had on people that I've taught, and I've watched them blossom into these confident, assured, self-worthy human beings. So that is my purpose here. And that's why I've created all of these businesses, so I can try to affect and help and encourage other people to feel that.
And when you're doing something that aligns with your purpose, it's like nothing can stop you.
No.
Nothing, which is going back to you being a kid. Like, you're like, I know I can do this. I know I got this.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever done anything that didn't align with your purpose that only made you know more, like, this is what I meant to do? Did you ever have a detour?
I mean, I've done things that haven't felt right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in high school, I could have fell off into a bad path. Like, I was a wild child, you know, and that could have detoured me. But luckily, I always had a very strong mind, and I knew what was right for me and what wasn't. And I'm like, bitch, if you keep hanging around these people, and if you keep doing this kind of shit, that's not who you want to become. So luckily, and that's why I have a lot of empathy for people that are in a bad situation, because you never know how strong someone's mind is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm lucky that I had a strong enough mind to say, this is what we're going to do with our life. But besides that, no.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel like I've always put myself in places doing things that felt right for me. I might have always been around the right people, but I have always tried to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I make mistakes too, but I've always tried to do my best.
Yeah. And like what feels aligned. And I think that aligned feeling is something that, especially when we're younger, we might not always recognize it as being like, this is actually where I'm supposed to be. And for me, I know I had to try things that didn't feel right for me in my future before I could realize this is what I'm really meant to do.
Yes.
And so, but that only solidified me knowing, like, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful feeling.
It is. Yeah. Once I finally figured it out.
Yeah. No, it takes a lot of, you know, trials and failures and whatnots, but yeah.
Can you tell us about how the no moments, like, what they taught you about yourself?
They taught me that my ego isn't shit, and that what I feel and what I know is real. Pivoting isn't always bad. Pivoting is almost necessary. That I don't have to be just great at one thing. I can show my greatness in a lot of different avenues. Yeah, I feel like that's good. Yeah. And to spend more time with my mind. Yeah.
How do you do that?
I'm not in a relationship and I don't have kids, so it's easier for me than I'm sure most. But what I do is I always designate, no matter how busy I am, the mornings are my thing. Those are my mornings. That's what I was gonna say. My mornings. And I carve out time to sit and pray and meditate. And if my mind's going crazy, then I'll like stretch with it, but I allow some space so I can hear myself think. Or I can hear nothing, but I have to allow some time for myself and not let it be dictated by what's on my phone or what's on TV or what my mom is saying or what, like, I cannot have like outside influence dictate my thoughts in my day all the time. I need time.
For me, that's going for walks, and I try to be really forceful about having them be in my schedule. So I'll be like scrambling. I treat it like a meeting. I'm trying to treat it like a meeting. Like, oh, I can't. I have to go for a walk.
No, and isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Some people set their alarm and they and it's like an alarm to go outside for 5 minutes and breathe.
Mm-hmm.
That time is so necessary.
For me, it is.
Yeah. And no, but I think it for everybody.
For everyone. Mm-hmm.
Like whether you think it's bullshit or not, you'll eventually understand why it isn't bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need that time.
I really need that time.
Yeah.
Like for me, I like to meditate too. So I'm glad you said that. And I've shared some really wild meditation stories here because I'm a very visual meditator. So I have almost like dreamlike meditations. Wow. But they're always like me conquering something. Like
beautiful.
Kung Fu fighting, conquering something.
Yeah, I just pictured you like in a Lord of the Rings movie.
Exactly.
I'm like,
exactly
that's sick. You're like slaying. You're like, oh!
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what it was. So
cool.
You're right on point. But in those moments when I give myself the time to have that space, like I remember, like I can get through anything. I can conquer anything. And a lot of the time, like I'm the one getting in my own way. So it also gives me the time to be able to step aside and be like, girl, move. Like, what are you doing?
You know, it's crazy. Our brains are crazy. Mm-hmm. And I overthink a lot. Mm-hmm. Like I'll overthink about all that I do because I expect myself to be absolutely incredible at everything. Even shit I don't do, I expect myself to be incredible at. Even when I came here today, I'm like, you better fucking kill it. It's like, oh my gosh, just talk and do the best you can.
Yeah.
And I'll overthink about things that I say or what I will. And I'm like, those moments, I'm like, shh, silence. All is okay. Nothing is that deep. Mm-hmm. When you really think about it, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. It's nothing is that deep. So just keep pushing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just on a podcast and they asked me, because I'm an attorney. And so they,
whoa.
I know, I don't know if you know, thank you.
Come on. I need to start using bigger words now.
And so I'm an attorney and she was like, what advice would you give to attorneys in their first few years of just coming out of law school? And I said, you know, don't be afraid to be wrong. Like as attorneys, but also across the board. Like we can be so scared to get the answer wrong or mess up or whatever. And as a new attorney, usually, you know, you run everything through the partner. So it's not like you're just out fucking cases up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
just getting people wrongfully in jail and shit.
Exactly. No, but I'm like, be okay being wrong. Like show your work so someone can point out to you where you went wrong or whatever, but be okay being wrong. Like that's how you're going to learn. And you're going to remember more if you get it wrong the first time.
Absolutely. I think, I'm so big on being human, but I think because of the world we live in now, we're all afraid to make any mistakes. Yeah. You know, especially like someone that's in like the public eye. It's like, you better do everything perfect. And I have to give myself grace. I'm like, I'm human. Mm-hmm. And I know who I want to be. And I know deep down I'm a great person. So you have to allow, that those mess ups or allow. I like being around people that call me on my shit too. Yeah. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for telling me that. I don't want to say that or do that ever again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are hard to receive, but I admire, like, especially people in the public eye when they can grow in front of an audience. Yeah. I've noticed that. Cause like for me, it's a lot easier to be like, oh shoot, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Thank you for pointing that out. But for someone like you or like so much more visibility, it's scary. And I always admire people who can just own up to whatever they did wrong and be an example like that.
Yeah. I mean, what else can we do? I just think it's funny how righteous people act. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, really? You've never fucked up or made a mistake? Yeah. And we all have to understand that we are all not the same. Your mistakes aren't going to be my mistakes. And we kind of have to have compassion. Mm-hmm. And if someone takes accountability, now granted, there's lines to this shit, right? But like, you know, if someone takes accountability, you have to be like, okay, don't do it again. Mm-hmm. You know, learn from everything. Yeah. Yeah.
This reminds me, because Love is Blind. I don't know if you watch Love is Blind.
I love Love is Blind.
But the people in the comment section of every single cast member, they can say the cruelest things. And like, I know we don't love how everyone acted and, you know, but we also don't know the full story because
also things are edited.
Right.
And also it's like some people are just assholier than others. Yeah. Right? And you don't need to to hate anyone is crazy to me.
Especially if you've never met them.
Yes.
What are you even saying in these people's comments? Like, how do people do that? There needs to be more understanding, because a lot of times, not always, a lot of times on Love is Blind in particular, the people grow in front of us. And they didn't come on the show as like celebrities. You know what I mean?
No, I know.
There's a learning curve to that for them.
Of course. And I'm sure they watch it back and they're like, ooh,
Yeah.
gosh. Please don't film me on my drunk night, like out with my new husband. Like, you know, who knows what's going to come out of my mouth. You know, you try your best.
Funny.
Yeah.
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 So do you find that the no's helped prepare you for the future, professionally and personally?
Yes. Because even if I'm in an environment that's going to become a no, I'm learning something in that environment, right? So for instance, I'll bring up the company that I had. I learned so much about business that it was a bummer when I lost everything, but I got to use my knowledge of what I learned from that and bring it to Naughty Girl. From being a professional dancer and that ending, I got to bring how I wanted to treat dancers, what works, what doesn't, the right ways, the wrong ways. And I brought all of that to being a choreographer. So even though you might be in these no places, or, you know, get fired or get broken up with, and all of the things that can be a no, you are learning something there that you are going to take into your yes. And that's what I love.
Yeah. I was going to say that when you brought up how you felt like you lost everything when your relationship ended and you had to leave that business. But I like what you just said, because you didn't lose everything. You still have that knowledge. You still have that business knowledge. Like, you still have you. And like, you are the thing that is really what sells. You know what I mean? It's the passion you bring to it. Yeah.
And I think that also goes for my relationship. I learned not even about him. I learned how I want to be, how I want to show up, how I want to communicate in my next relationship. You know, it's devastating, but I wanted to learn so much from that. That's why I took this time so seriously, because I don't want to repeat that ever again. You know, I don't want something that's not honest and open and loving and all of the things. So, yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard, but life's hard.
It is.
Yeah. And relationships are even harder. You know?
Yeah. So, okay, here's the golden question.
Okay.
Looking back, are you thankful for all the no's?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be who I am right now with this mind, with this trajectory, with all of this organicness that I have, if it wasn't for all of the no's. Yeah, I'm extremely, extremely grateful. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Woo! So, okay, Janelle, this is we're getting to the end here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you so much for having me.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I had fun.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe how many times we cried in less than 45 minutes.
Well, my friends and my team aren't surprised. Yeah, they're like, oh, honestly, you did a good job.
Same though.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to tell the listeners, or where they can find you, what you got going on, stuff like that?
Sure. I want to tell you guys that I think you should try to find freedom, happiness, and beauty in each day. Life is a gift, and we need to treat it as so. Nothing's guaranteed, so guarantee your day with positivity. And you can find me at Janelle Ginestra on Instagram. You can watch my dance shit on YouTube. You can go to naughtygirlfitness.com and work out with me. Yeah. Awesome. And let'sstrip.com if you want to learn some cheerleading moves. Yeah, just see me out here. I'm just trying my best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.
Yay.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
That was so good.
Thank you.
No, really. On the podcast, we want to connect with the audience and create a community that inspires and grows together. We have a way to do that. Submit your own thank you for saying no moment or story and how it's impacted your life in a great way, and then we'll read it on the podcast. There's a form linked in the description where you can submit. You can respond anonymously, of course, but if you leave your name and your social media, we'll give you a little shout out when we read your submission. And all submissions will be part of a drawing to win some exclusive Thank You for Saying No merch. Follow and subscribe to the Thank You for Saying No podcast, and you'll get every episode as soon as it's released.